out on the highway. Remember when we get in that, it just won't catch. It's turning, but it ain't gonna catch. That's what all of them are. Just don't catch. Okay, and then the van that Sister Bahia drive, she said something is acting up with it. It don't make a difference. In fact, what I'd like to do is, since experience is the best teacher, I'd like for y'all to handle those cars. You know, call the tow truck and have them take them over to what's the name. It may be a trick just to get the stuff over there, and he wants to. It don't make no difference what it is. But we take it to him, and if not, well, all the other cars. If it was out on the highway, I'd leave them. But since they just ran over there, you know, and they run like watches, both of them. So we just, and it ain't nothing. They just pull some little thing. That's all it is, because the cars can't be sitting there like the little yellow Volkswagen. It can't sit there and develop all the stuff that they talking about was wrong with it. It can't do that, you know. Anyway, I'll get into that later. That's just par for the course. This is why focus is so beautiful. You stay focused on what you're doing. You just stay focused on it. I mean, with ease, not like you have to work on it. Remember, after a while, this becomes easy. It becomes natural. Okay, so let's see where we are. Age of discovery. We were just talking about visualization, pictures, achieving, train for success, dreams in the direction of historical evolution, and I have 1968 by that. In other words, that's when I realized about visualization. In 1968, I was already rich. I was in, not retirement, but I was taking it easy. You know, I had 3 Cadillacs, and I had 3 Cadillacs, so what the heck? And then I had 2 Cadillacs right there. $25,000 saved, that's like $250,000 now, easy, maybe more. That was a lot of money. For somebody 22, I mean, I was 22, I wasn't like, you know. So, I was just taking it easy, and then I was sitting down listening to the Temptations, that album, Wish It Would Rain, and maybe smoking a little something every now and then. And I was tripping, and I saw limousines pulling off. You know, I could see them actually, you know, with smoking that weed that good, you could actually see them. David, you could see them pull off on the curb. And I was seeing that, and 6 months later, it all was happening. 6 months later, it was all happening. In other words, I didn't know what it was, visualization, visualize, it didn't happen. But that's exactly what white folks visualize. Picture yourself doing such and such. Picture the businesses that you want to have. I'm telling you, in 6 months, all of that stuff was happening. And it was rolling and moving, and everybody else was getting in on it. Everybody else was getting in on it. And that's what makes things, shoot, this picture in the papers from that era is from 60, that's probably 68. But what's the point? This stuff that we're talking about is not abstract. The pictures that we have, we believe we're tilting in the stream of the direction that history is going. They call it the right side of history. That's the way it's going. And every time, I don't care whether it was the next thing is I want to be kind of like Malcolm, you know, because I went through all this, travel all around the world. So as an Imam, I would like to be that type of, the person we visualize as Malcolm, you know, that type of person. And guess what? We was already on the level of Malcolm when we opened the Masjid. You know why? Because we knew all of what he knew, and that was years before. Man, he must have got martyred 15 years before. So we went all around the world, same place he did. In fact, when I was in Tanzania, first hotel I stayed in, they said, "Did you know Malcolm X? He was here." You know what I mean? And right across from the clock tower in those days. The point is that all of that stuff is possible. This is your dear friend. I'm going to just answer this just for a minute. As-salamu alaikum.
Unbelievable. You sound like a fool. You can never be down. I can't believe you guys don't even really believe in that.
Well, let me explain about Malcolm. Now, Malcolm, think about this, everybody. I just told them about Malcolm, so they listened. The Negroes was listening. We had 50 years before Malcolm. We had Booker T. Washington, right? And we had Tyler the 10th type thing. Yeah. You never saw Malcolm them trying to go back to 50 years. That was exactly 50 years before, 1915 and 1965. 50 years. Here's what y'all got to do. You got to stop trying to save your behind by praising Malcolm and not paying attention to the people who are doing the same thing. And remember, the people that come after that generation, they have to run that mile faster than the ones before. They got records to break, right? We are in a more serious situation than we was in 65, 63. If we would have solved those problems of black people, we'd have been all right. Black people. Now, it's the world you got to work on. I am very glad you called, because everything we say proves that y'all paying attention to us, and you so sad. The other thing about it, I like y'all, but you're jealous. You so jealous. You show me something. Y'all ain't never did nothing. You would be called, I ain't gonna say this, bums in those days. You would be called, excuse the language, can I say it? You would be called nothing niggas. That's what you would have been called. You are nothing. You know they used to say, nothing from nothing comes nothing, and you gotta have something to be with me. That is the way they talked. Suppose we talk that about you. Nothing from nothing comes nothing. Y'all got the masjid out there and ain't did nothing. Nothing. With the police helping you. Nothing. You done sold property. I know the police didn't give you the money. It's so pitiful. Nothing. And then you jealous. Look at that. Boy, that's a handsome nigga there. Look at that nigga there. The other thing, the hadith, this is what you got to understand. The hadith is clear. Those of you that was one thing in Jahiliyyah will be the same thing when you get knowledge of religion, or better, right? Add up things the way they are, not the way you wish they was. Malcolm X was a drug consumer, right? He was a drug user. Malcolm didn't run no organization. Malcolm did not run no organization that fed everybody. Let me turn this off. Malcolm didn't run out. I'm going to go and talk to you in about an hour or so. Malcolm did not, right, have a structure or organization. He consumed drugs. He was a consumer of drugs. He wasn't a distributor of drugs. He was a consumer, right? Malcolm was a burglar. He was a burglar. He was burglarizing stuff. I was the head of a criminal, not criminal, I was the head of a black liberation, liberating everything we could, organization. And everybody know that. What's so hard for you to say if he was that then, right? Then now, after the experience, you got to remember. Do y'all remember that I've said the Rahbar have caught up with Imam Khomeini? This is my belief. Why? The time. He had time. He got all that time. If he was one half as smart as Imam Khomeini, he would be twice as big because he had all that time and he had all that pressure and he had to earn his way. He had to earn his way. You know, I told him, well, Ali Khamenei, they didn't even call him Ayatollah at first. They said because he made him one, right? He had to earn that stuff, right? Now, you have to understand, now, all the stuff that they talk about, this is what we do. Malcolm was not on any front page newspaper. I got 5 or 10 papers that I'm on the front page of, overseas. In their language, translating what I was saying to their, okay? All the big stuff, all that stuff. What are you talking about? What do you want? This man right here, and everybody knew it. Did you hear what he said about me? Imam Musa is the essence of everything that is good. I said, oh man, he said that though, right? What's your problem? Your problem is the same as the Quran. You guys, somebody from amongst yourself come to you. It's easy for you to praise Malcolm because he's dead. It's hard for you to say, I know what I'm talking about, because if I know what I'm talking about, then what? You have to get busy.
Right. They'd have to get
The
behind you,
the minute Malcolm got martyred, everybody was saying, Malcolm is deep, man. Man, that's deep. And they didn't do nothing. Absolutely nothing. The ones here that run out, they go up to Malcolm's grave and all that, they do that to escape work. They do that. Because if they say, we down with Malcolm, well, you down with him, what are you doing? If you was down, we down with Malcolm. That's why we got every police in the United States running around. How many police is running after you? Listening to you, messing with you? How many? Come on now. You talking out the side of you. How many police? I want y'all all to pay attention to these people. Because I was going to give you a break at first. But you didn't call, and you make it, we waited 15 years before we even made things beyond Malcolm. Why did we say, remember the beyond Malcolm? Because we have to go beyond Malcolm. The world is 10 times as complicated now as during Malcolm's time. And in those days, it was almost black and white. Colonialism, neo-colonialism, that stuff. Okay, now, you must don't listen to the lectures that we give here. You must don't pay attention to the forecast that we give. You cannot understand the forecast we give. That we forecast day in and day out, week in and week out. This is what we expect, anticipate, right? The system is going to do. Get out your notebook and listen to what we say. Don't call here just fluffing your mouth up. You ought to be shamed by what you say about Malcolm. We love Malcolm. You know why we love him? Because we're doing just what he did. When he left, we jumped right on it, right away. Not years later, we was right behind him and Imam Jamil all overseas. How much money you give to the movement? How much encouragement and stick-to-itness and all of that? How many pictures do you have of leaders of the BLA, Black Liberation Army? How many pictures do you have of friends that you have had fun with in Algeria and other places? How many? You ought to sit down and shut up. You ought to sit down and shut up because you're making a fool out of yourself. Anybody that analyzes correctly or generally will say, yeah, well, okay. Malcolm had 12, 13 years, 1952, 1965. And then that was it. But look where he came, right? Okay, that was finished. But we don't believe his actions stopped. Martin Luther King, same thing, 56, then you go to 56 and get up another 12 years, okay, 68. He's martyred. King is martyred. But King, we talked about the 3D, King is depressed about 68. He don't know exactly what to do. They didn't give him time to figure it out. We went through those changes. If you would have caught us in 1970, 71 and all that, we was trying to figure it out too. But by the time we became Muslim, functioning Muslim, when we opened our Masjid in Oakland in 1980, we had an idea of what to do. Our lectures today are just hybrids of the same thing we talked about then, but on a higher level. The experience that we have acquired of being a part of the movement, the experience that we have acquired in dealing with the system, we have survived just you guys, just the silliness that you guys do. We survived that, la tatraba, no reproach. But we had a ruling already. Because we expected everything that happened with you guys out there. We expected it. We anticipated. Why you think we name ourselves Moses? You don't understand that we understand what we're going to deal with now and from now on. But what you don't understand is you don't have to be a bum. You don't have to be a bum. They don't have to be. You don't have to call me telling me what I'm doing wrong. And technically, I don't want to do this, people, but all I can say is that you find somewhere where I haven't tried. Wherever I came, it was more there than when I left, or better. There's nothing that, okay. What about you? What are you doing? You calling me? I ought to be ashamed. I'm not ashamed. I'm very happy. And do you know what contentment is? I want you to understand that if you work fi sabilillah, right? If you work where this job that Allah give you, this vision, this possibility, and you make that your leisure, your hobby, then Allah gonna give you contentment. That's the hadith is clear, right? He'll give you contentment. You're not contented because you don't act like you're contented. I'm contented because I'm happy with what I got. I accept what I have, and whatever I get anyway, I'm gonna give it away. What do you give away? I don't want to lose the good deeds that I did by running my mouth about it, but this is necessary. I'm just doing this, I'm just doing this because it's necessary. Because if I happen to get run over by a car, if everybody don't listen to every one of my lectures, then, and they listen to one or two of them people after things is over, and they don't check, that's what they'll believe. They'll believe some of that. So I have tons of information on the whole process. Yeah. Well, let's look. Here's your dear brother right here. Didn't y'all bust me upside the head? Did you see how that stuff was on top of mine? This is blood splattered all over this, that, and another. That's right. That's what y'all did. And ain't nobody said nothing about it. The police don't care. They probably drove y'all there. And it was on November the 4th. That's Marg Amrika Day. Iranians didn't tell me the whole story. All they did was said, Imam Musa that had to do something with us. When I told them, I said, don't mention it. I'll find out later. You know. So I told them, don't say nothing about it. Just wait till I see y'all and stuff. But it was November the 4th. Whether they wanted to show the Iranians, this is what we do to your people that like you, or whatever it was, it don't make no difference. It only increased. I got something, and I'm gonna leave with that. Not leave totally, but in a while. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Kulna ya narukum fi baridan or fi baridan salaman ala Ibrahim. We said, O fire, be thy cool, and it means of safety for Abraham. If everybody looked at what the program the white man had was called Hot Seat, like Hot Seat. How many people do you think would like to do the job that I'm doing? I mean, they would volunteer. Oh, not too many, right? Why? Because they can see. No, man. And how many people see? Let's say everybody sees, because the people here